inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher, unlock the fire in you, 'cause real women don't bitch, no, real women don't, 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 real women don't bitch.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. This is your proud host, August Crenshaw, aka Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. I am the #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs because building mental muscle is necessary in order to implement successful business strategies. This show has been created for the woman who is not excuse-driven and needs help building a profitable business. I will be interviewing women from various fields who are willing to break the silence on struggles that specifically affect female entrepreneurs. Welcome to a show where I and guest speakers from time to time share our methods that help us beast our business no matter what is going on in our lives. Whether you are an online or brick and mortar business owner, this show is for you. We will hit every angle, personal, professional, and spiritual. Why? Because on any given day, you get hit with shit from a scenario involving one, more, or perhaps all of the above. It all impacts you and your mindset towards your business. I have made it my personal mission to provide a space where we dive deep into the BS we face on a day-to-day basis. Oh, snap. Guess what, ladies? We're back here on the Real Women Don't Bitch podcast. And OMG, this is going to be a good one, because if there's anything we can whine and gripe or complain about or be grateful and feel like they're so adorable, it's our children. And I'm super duper stoked because I have a child care event sitter on the podcast with me today, and she is an absolute jewel. So we are about to cut up. Tish, say hi to everybody.
Hey.
Woo! So look, I don't even want to take too much time because this right here, this topic, I can't wait to really dig into your journey, what you've done, how you gotten to where you are, what it is that you do. So let's go ahead and, chime in. Who are you? What do you do? And let's kick off this interview.
Okay, well, I'm Tish Davis. I am the Chief Fund Officer of Elegant Event Sitters Incorporated, and we provide childcare solutions for special occasions so that parents can party in peace.
Woo, woo, woo. I like that. So parents can party in peace. And so it's common sense, who you are and what you do. However, I hadn't even thought about it. I'm hosting an event that's coming up in September. And so for me and you to have met the way that we did via email, it was kind of like, oh, wow, this is great. I want to talk to her about this. So you say so people can party in peace. You exactly make sure that everybody's clear what you do and tell them why you started doing it.
Okay, so what party in peace to us means that we do a lot of weddings and we do a lot of parties. We also do a lot of corporate and military and things like that. But for us, our biggest thing is that we want the parents to be able to have a good time. So why they are attending an event, we want them to be able to go. We don't want them to have to check in like every few seconds. I have kids, and when they were younger, you can't really, I couldn't even go to church without my daughter, sit here, all that. So it's really a service for the parents so that they can have a good time. And then what we do is we take the kids into normally a separate room, but we've had various kinds of situations, but normally a separate room, and we set up all of this stuff for them, games, toys, face painting, activities, and everything like that, so that they can have fun, so they won't want to go back to their moms. We want them to want to stay with us, because the longer they want to stay with us, then the longer the parents can have a good time.
Oh, Lord. I know what that feeling looks like. My son was not having it. He was church, quiet. I mean, he wasn't even being bad. You know what I'm saying? He was just, it's like, oh, my God. And don't, y'all, when I used to go to church all the time, it was crazy. It was really, really crazy because my kids One of my 14-year-old, she would crawl up to the pulpit, she crawl up under the pews. But if I didn't let her go, she wouldn't be quiet. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, really weird. But seriously, but when you have events, and I've been that child, back in the day, coming up in the old school, it was like, sit down, be quiet, don't you move. And, you're at the table in the back at the adult reception or whatever. And it's whack. It is really whack. We've evolved. We've really come a long way. I'm 44 now. So, things have definitely changed. So how did you get into this though? Because I can see why the need is there, but what catapulted you to saying, oh, this is what I want to do as an entrepreneur?
Actually, one of my girlfriends came to me with the idea, and I was working a full-time job, but I didn't have a career because I hadn't finished college, mainly because I had a child, and then I went back to school, and then I had another child. So I was kind of in a position where I was just working, and a friend of mine had come to me with this to do as a side hustle because we both were working full-time. And what ended up happening is I didn't know anything about a business, and I really am a firm believer in that you capitalize on the skills that you have. And so being a single mom, and I was a Girl Scout leader, my only real marketable skill was, keeping kids busy. So it seemed like a natural fit for both of us. We were both moms, and my girlfriend, she was able to put up all the money for us to get started. I was able to use my kids' toys because we didn't have money to buy stuff. So I used my kids' toys, and we put one little ad on a local bridal website. And I think that cost us like $7 a month. And we just were not really expecting to get any clients.
Man, but there was so much wisdom that was wrapped up in everything that you said. Now, we already know here on the podcast, what is it? It's been a while since I've had a guest, but we already know the motto is, the mantra is, real women don't bitch, they get shit done. And so I know a lot of women who don't move forward in their business because of what they don't have, instead of realizing the blessing in what they do have. So you got two people that can do business together. One has access to money. The other one has access to resources, and you both have access to a limited amount of time. And so everybody that's listening, I love to pull the nuggets out when people are on the podcast. What are you not doing because you think things should look or be a certain way? Because I know a lot of people that could have been in your position, but they needed, $1,000 budget so that they can go to Toys R Us, may they rest in peace. Yeah, I miss my brick and mortar. But seriously, that was my spot. I don't know how they went out of business. I do, but I don't. But you're like, oh, I have a budget and I need to get things new. And it has to like this. You're like, look, I got kids. They have stuff. We're going to use that. But you said that you guys put an ad in there and you spent a little bit of money, but on one hand, you started your business, but you said you weren't expecting anything to come out of it.
That is true, because we knew that it was a good idea, but we didn't know, we'd never really heard of this before. And so there was one company that we knew of in Delaware. I think they're still in business now, and they were doing this. And so, but we didn't know of anyone else doing it. Nobody had really heard of it here in Atlanta. And so it was just something that was brand new, and people weren't educated on it. And honestly, a lot of people still don't know it exists. And we were not really expecting to get anything, but we were just kind of like, oh, well, just take a chance. And I didn't really have anything to fall back on. My girlfriend, we were in very different situations. She was married, she was degreed, she was on an upward path at her company that she still is with today. And so I was more, I don't want to say desperate, but kind of.
Yeah.
And so I was really just trying to find something. And what you were going back to saying about just like using resources, I was homeless for 6 months with my older two children. And so I just felt like I was just like, if I could get out of that, then I can do whatever.
Wow. And see, that's beautiful. And I love the fact that you said that too, because usually when we begin our entrepreneurial endeavor, there's going to be some kind of challenge that's going to come to us. And so I got this whole thing I do, it's called Up-Level Your Boss Mindset. And I teach people to look at the dilemmas in their business, based on something else that they've already come through personally, because there are characteristics. And so if you were homeless and you came out of that, then somewhere wrapped in there, you have perseverance, you're optimistic, you're a go-getter, you're resourceful, something. And you have to have those same characteristics once you operate in a business. And so some of you may be in a place where it isn't as bright as you want it to be. You aren't experiencing exactly what you want to see, but then you may need to go back and look at one of those darker times in your life and see that you actually came out of it, because it's proof positive. Not because somebody is telling you, have faith and he's a midnight hour guy. For yourself that things are going to be okay based off of your previous experiences. So you've been homeless, you launched this business, you don't have that much to bring to the table other than yourself and your resources. You put an ad out there. You guys end up getting a shit ton of clients. What does this look like?
Wish. No, we had one client our first year. We did one wedding.
Okay.
And then the second year, I think we may have done 3. The third year, we did 3. And I think at our peak, we did 5 in 1 year. That was and we thought we were doing really great when we had 5 in 1 year. And
okay.
So, but my girlfriend who I started the business with, she was ready to break off, and she left it to me. And then I decided to try to build it, and I started networking more. And I wasn't really familiar with networking because I had never really done it before, because I always worked. And so I would go to events and I would just kind of clam up and, meet one person and cling to them. And then I was just kind of like, okay, well, I wasn't getting the word out because I was being shy. But then after I quit my job, which was about a year later, after I quit my job, I didn't have any money coming in. I had depleted my 401k to pay my rent and to take care of my kids. And so I was just like, this is how we're going to live. I got to start talking. And so I started talking to everybody that I met, and I would tell everybody what I did. If I was in the elevator, I would look for people with engagement rings and ask about their wedding date. And like, congratulations, I see you're getting married. Let me tell you about this service. And so I just started telling everybody what I did. And then eventually it started kind of catching on, but not really. And then I started reaching out to people seeking wedding planners and conference planners and things like that, and just sending them an introduction. Like, hey, this is me. This is what I do. I'd love to chat with you about it. And then a year later, I ended up with 9 clients in 1 month, and I was able to leave my job. Well, my job was really nice, and they were working with me. They let me work part-time instead of full-time, and just divided my salary up into hourly. And so they let me do that for 6 weeks. And so at the end of 6 weeks, I had to give them an answer. I was either coming back full-time or I was not coming back at all. And so I decided that I was going to take a chance on myself and this business, and that I wasn't going to go back. And thankfully, I have not had to go back to work since 2009, and I'm very happy about that.
Wow. So that's been 11 years since you've been working solely for yourself. There was so much beauty in everything that you said. And I'm pretty certain they got it, but I just really want to make sure that the ladies got all of that. So I'm not saying everybody has to do this, but I know a lot of women. I know a woman right now who has multiple 6 figures in her retirement fund, who is an entrepreneur that could do a lot of stuff to put herself on the map. She will not touch that money. But that isn't really about safety and security. That's about whether or not you really can bet on yourself. You did what you had to do in order to get things going, and you took a chance on yourself, which meant that even though you had to break through some fears, that you were like, I've got to be able to bet on me. Introversion and shyness can't be excuses. People don't believe it, and I don't care if you see me in public at a networking event until I get my joy muscle going. I can mimic a social butterfly, but I'm actually an introvert, and networking events, like they're hard for me. People don't believe that. I do what I got to do, and then I gotta decompress. And so, but that can't be the reason either. You went out there and you got your money. You have a gift. All of us have a gift, but I'm just saying you have a gift that changes experiences. You know, it takes a wedding day from like, oh my God, can we get through this moment, to everything was so beautiful. It changes a corporate event or a business conference, ladies, because she does business conferences too, to like, I can have more people here. They'll register because now the children can be accommodated. And so it's changing people's lives while it's also changing your pockets. But that's what all of us, you know, whether you're making a t-shirt or whether you're making a cake or whether you're doing coaching, and how many of you are keeping your mouth closed? Are you not proud of what you do? Do you not see what you have to bring to the table? I know so many women that always complain about their business not making as much money as they thought that it would. But the question is, are you doing what Tish did? Tish went and got it. Oh, you had a wedding, girl, congratulations. And do you want, oh, event hosting? Can I speak to somebody? Do you all need somebody to? And that's the kind of mindset that you have to have. Entrepreneurship is not going to give itself to you. You got to take success. It does not, good things do not come to those who wait. It comes to those who take a lasso and will wrap it around their neck and drag it back to them and say, you and me, we going to be together. It's a fatal attraction. You know, me, you, success, we together, boo, and you can't go anywhere. So a lot of jewels to learn now. But do you mind, talk to the ladies some, when you had that moment where you need to stop being shy, right? You depleted your 401k, the money's low, you're not having the kind of clients that you need to have. Can you remember one of those like really dark moments where you were doing that war with yourself? Like, you need to do something. I can't do anything. If you would just be, you know, when did it like really click? What was that breaking point for you?
Oh my God. If I'm completely honest, I was like immobilized, like in my bed, because I was so depressed about not having business coming in. And so I was thinking about quitting. I interviewed with some companies to get another job, kind of doing what I was doing before. And so, but I was just like super depressed, and I thought I made the wrong decision because I had 3 children and I was single and I didn't know how I was going to take care of them. And so I really felt like I was like destroying my family's life. And so I couldn't get out of bed, any of that stuff. And so thankfully, one of my friends, she made me, she was like, I'm going to come and get you. We're going to go to the park. We're going to walk. You need to get out of the house. And so just having having good friends and a network of people who believed in what I was doing and really thought that I, you know, was not making a mistake. It was a little difficult because it was during the time when people were getting laid off from their jobs, like 2009, 2010, and people were leaving jobs. And so then I just kind of felt like, am I being stupid by leaving my job when I have a job and all these other people are like trying to get a job? What am I doing? And so it really, I don't know, it just took a lot out of me. And so, but thankfully my network was good and they were able to get me back on the right track. And so I want to say I thought about giving up very seriously, and I went to 2 job interviews, and then I just, like after the second one, I was just like, this is what I just left. If I was going to go back to work, I could have just kept my same job.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of what happened.
You know, it's kind of hard for people to believe it until they hear it from somebody else. But I think we all have that low point. Because I know for me, in my situation, I didn't exactly know what to do, and I was willing to pay to find out what to do, but I exhausted a lot of money into some piece of shit offers, and I was still left with nothing. But I was like, but what can I glean from the experience? Because there was still something to learn. I learned something about, you know, marketing or webinars or something. And my husband was working so hard, because he was like, yeah, babe, what's inside of you is going to set us free, and you do what you're doing. I'm excited. But I remember one day just standing in front of him and crying, because I'm like, what am I doing? Because I had been a hairstylist for over 20 years before we left St. Louis. That I had some of my clients had been with me the full duration since I started doing hair in high school. And the average client was at least 5 years old. So how did we leave a nice house, nice cars, you know, nice living, great jobs, insurance, nice business, for me to be somewhere every time you turn around, I'm going to give a nugget on live video. I'm saying something positive on live video. I'm going to keep pressing. And for an entire year, I didn't make any money in my business. And just like you know what? I have the same story to tell, even though I'm a go-getter. Yeah, I wrote books, but I put the links out there and I was like, yeah, here goes my book. Buy my book, as if I was just going to get rich, because all of a sudden out of nowhere, 1,000 people were going to be buying my book every day. And even when I was doing live videos, I wasn't saying, go to my website and sign up for me to be your business coach, or I wouldn't even call myself a business coach. But something changed even for me, because I cried and my husband was like, it's going to be okay. We're going to figure this out. And I remember saying, I'm a coach. Stop it. Because I felt dirty thinking about going to do something else. And I remember I reached out to a friend and I was like, you want me to coach you? I see you running a business and I'm going to do it for free. And then that's when my had that snap in my spirit. And then after that, then people that have been watching me and listening to me, like, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. Finally launch a group program. People sign up, but I still see spiritually where that switch changed because I changed. And how many women aren't experiencing the change in your business because you haven't changed? It's not about the marketing. Don't get me wrong. All of that stuff is important, but we have to go and get it. So that's just how, I have a habit of always wanting to say something in regards to the nuggets. But so can we go to your kids on that side of things? So how old are your children and how do they feel about mommy and her business?
Well, my oldest daughter will be 28 on Friday. And then I have a 26-year-old and I have a 19-year-old. She just turned 19. And so I think it's a lot different now than when I first started, because when I first started being single and I was working my full-time job and then would come home and work on my business. And then they were just like, we never see you. We never talk to you. My youngest daughter drew a picture, a family picture she drew, and I was not in it. Oh. So I was very hurt and distraught. But now everyone's really supportive. My middle daughter works with me a lot as a lead, and she is great. And so she's really helping me out with my events. And because I do work nationwide, sometimes if I have to go to one location, I can send her somewhere else. And I trust that she's going to be looking out for me and, making sure that my business is, that she's promoting it properly and following she's very strict. She's way more strict than I am. So she makes sure that everyone is in line. And then my oldest daughter, she's very creative. And so she sometimes helps with design and I don't want to say tablescaping, but kind of just helping me with the setup. And then my youngest daughter, she's 19. So she works with me sometimes, but she does a lot of the registration because we usually have like a registration table. And that's where she's really good. She's very organized and all that. So, but they're able to help me quite a bit when I need it. And so sometimes I just had an event on Friday that I got called about on Thursday. And so I called my daughter, one of them, and I was just like, I need you to work with me tomorrow. And it was a little bit of a struggle, but she caved. And so she was able to go with me. But so they're a really good support system too.
That's beautiful. And so kind of looking back in retrospect, moving fast forward to now, do you believe that the way that they think or they move and they observe life, can you see how watching mommy actually pursue her dreams has influenced the way that they view the possibilities? Can you see the evidence of it yet?
I would say in a couple of them, but maybe all three of them. But yes, I really have tried to before, and I will not lie, before I was very much, like, no, you need to do this. Like you need to go to school, graduate, go to school again, work and all that, just because that's what my mom was always telling me. And so, but after doing this now, I'm just kind of like, okay, well, do what do what you like and do what you love doing. And so I'm really trying to encourage that now. And in the beginning, I would say that I wasn't as encouraging about that because I was just wanted them to be successful and not want them to go through the same things that I went through.
Yeah.
But now I'm realize that in order for them to be successful, they need to do something that they're passionate about.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I can say the same thing. I started braiding hair when I was 6 years old, but I practiced with extensions in 1992. I was a sophomore in high school. And about 3 months after that, I started acquiring clients. And I had swag. I was a young girl. My aunts would be like, I want my hair done. It'd be like $15 for that dookie braid. $15. I'm not going to ask you to buy my stuff. I'm working, and so I had that boss mentality at a very young age. And my family, you need to go to school to be a lawyer. You need to go to school to be a lawyer. Listen to your mouth, the way you love to debate, blah, 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 blah. And so what? And so I resisted. And I did what I did doing hair, but I still went to college. I would go and then I would do a semester and I'd be like, this is not for me. And then I would go and it would be not for me. And I didn't graduate at 33. I said, hey, Jesus. I was 33 years old when I got my degree because I did finally go back to, major in business admin. But I remember pushing it more so on my oldest daughter, go to school, because you're right. At the end of the day, even though we may do differently, that adage, that old adage is in our head, to do that. But there was always a little bit of a loose bit of conversation where I would be like, but if you don't want to, just understand though, you need to work, you need to do this. And so I can say now that I know that she has at least attempted to pursue a musical career, but not my younger children, because I got 14, which she's with her dad right now, but I have a 6 and a 5-year-old. But even my 14-year-old, I was like, you got a natural knack for fashion. You love doing anything that's creative. You can start working on it now because you could be a business owner. If you start doing something now, you could have a name that's known. You'd be 20, 21 years old because she doesn't really act like she likes school. So if you don't really like school, then, utilize your gifts. And so like you, I can honestly say that I have evolved as a mom as well. And it does make a difference in how our children show up. And so we got to be careful, moms, because we think that we're saying that we want our kids to be successful, but we're really saying that we want them to be safe. And entrepreneurship is not safe. It is one hell of a journey, but sometimes it's hard, but it's always worth it. So I love your journey. I love your story. What is one of the most beautiful things that you enjoy about being an entrepreneur when you compare it to when you were actually an employee?
Oh, okay. So many things, I think. Although I will say being an employee is much easier because you just go to work and you get paid. And even if you do a terrible job, you're still going to get paid. So, but this has been very challenging, and it's a lot more, it was a lot more work and stress than I was anticipating, because at first I just thought I would come in and just be like, I'm the boss. I don't have to work today. I'm just going to make all the money. And so a lot of times it's not like that. But one of the things that I will say is that I'm able to have more time for my family now. Even though on the front end it was difficult and I gave up a lot and missed a lot, but now I enjoy that, having that family time, being able to do things for my kids that I wasn't able to do before. And then it's not all financial, but just having the flexibility to not have to put real clothes on every day. And, also meeting clients. I love meeting clients. I love getting to know them and what they do. And especially if someone's getting married, I love weddings. So I like to know all about the details and all of that kind of stuff. And I also like meeting other women who are in business, who have a similar story, or even who don't have a similar story. I like meeting women who are successful. And I feel like this gives me a lot of opportunities to meet people that are good mentors.
Absolutely. And so how would you say that this journey has affected your faith? Can you see the comparison? Let's go all the way back to when you were homeless compared to now. How do you think your faith has evolved between before you started your business to now?
So much. I definitely think that before being homeless, I didn't think I was capable of really doing anything, because my mom was always taking care of me, and then I had a child and she was taking care of both of us. And so when I had my second child, that's when she was kind of, like using tough love and you've got to get out here and do this on your own. And I didn't think she was serious because I'm her only child and all that kind of stuff. So I really didn't know how I was going to make it. But I think like most women, like if you have kids and if you're taking care of someone else, then you just got to figure it out. Yeah. You have to make it work. You got to figure out a way to make it work. And so now as a entrepreneur, I feel like it's the same thing. You got to be, you got to find a solution. You can't whine about what's going wrong. You've got to figure out what to do right. And so what I do now, and wasn't always like this, but if maybe like 5 to 8 years ago, I started being more focused on what's going right as opposed to what's going wrong. And so that's been very helpful for me. And so just, like everything might seem like it's going to shit, but there's something good that's happening. And I just look at everything as a lesson now.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that I went through that homeless period, because if I had not, I don't think I would have been able to make it this far with my business.
So I love all of that. And I'm just even sitting here thinking myself, but that to me is a sheer sign of a faith-driven woman, to be able to say that I'm going to look at the positive side of things, because there's always great things, and what we consider to not be such great things happening. I remember a long time listening to an audio with Jim Rohn. He's like, it's all about perspective. Somebody else is a salesman, because back then they did a lot of door to door. Oh, it's pouring down, raining outside. This sucks. It's going to affect me being able to get out there. It's raining. The other guy's like, whoo, this is great. If it's raining, that means nobody's outside. They're not at the parks. So I'm knocking on everybody's doors because I'm going to catch them at home. And as an entrepreneur, that is the kind of mindset that you have to have. It's not lying. It's not psyching yourself out. It's not making shit up. It's like literally having to say, what is the positive spin on this? And a lot of times that will make or break your mindset, if you being able to stay in the long game. And so a lot of people, that follow the podcast, not everybody, but a lot of you all are Christians. And I keep saying it over and over again. You will quote Romans 8:28. All things are working together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. But as soon as something happens that you don't like, why is this happening to me, God? And it's like, because it's good. It's all good. And so that is one of the epitomes of a very faithful woman, to be able to say that I can see the positive side of whatever comes my way. So you've thrown a lot of nuggets out there. I'll give you a second to think about it. Your last word of wisdom, while that you would like to share with the audience, while I also just bring out a couple of other things, because ladies, I have questions, but I don't follow questions like go down a list. So when did you start? Why did you start? What was this? I don't do that, but I do have these roundabout questions that always come out. And one of them is like, what's your circle like? How do you keep your energy right? How does this impact your faith? Da, da, da. I ask a bunch of questions, but a lot of times I don't have to specifically ask the questions, because you answer them just by telling your story. And so one other thing that I also wanted to really put an extra emphasis on is the fact that you have a good circle. So many women say that entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. And there are moments when it can feel lonely, because you're kind of getting through the muck of people understanding an entrepreneur versus an employee mindset. But if you open up your mouth, if you speak your dreams, if you're non-negotiable about it, if you get out, and even though it's scary as hell, begin to network and begin to try, you're going to realize that you're not alone. I say it all the time. You do not have to be alone as an entrepreneur. It's just that certain people have chosen to do that. And so I love it how, even though you were shy and you didn't jump out there right away, that you still found the wherewithal within to begin to develop relationships, because that was some part of what held you up. And so we do fall sometimes before we get that faith muscle that everything is positive and we want to quit. And a lot of times it will be your circle. Sometimes we have to lean on the faith of another sister or a sister circle until we lift back up. So that was another nugget I didn't emphasize when you were speaking that I thought was really important to put out there. You guys check your circle, make sure it's good, because that's another characteristic of a strong and thriving entrepreneurial woman. So, but with that said, for the listeners, to keep them from a space of whining, bitching, griping, moaning, complaining, and seeing the possibilities, what is that last piece of wisdom that you would give them?
Well, let me think. I don't like complaining or bitching, but I would say for me, one of the things when I feel like I do want to complain or bitch, which is not very often, but I give myself a time limit. I give myself a moment, and then I say, okay, you have X number of time to grieve about this or to be upset over this. But at the end of the day, like, being upset and being depressed is not, is not getting these bills paid. So what I do is I say like, okay, well, I had a bad day. Something didn't go right, but I'm going to give myself the rest of the afternoon. I'm going to sleep on it and I'm going to wake up and be better tomorrow. And so I'm always focused on just, obviously you need that time, because sometimes people think that you can't allow yourself time to, feel bad about something that happened. Or I just had something happen a couple of years ago that I didn't even realize had affected me so emotionally, work-wise. And so I was grieving about it and I didn't realize that I was, but I gave myself a cutoff. And so I always just say, like, give yourself a cutoff. And if you want to mope and complain and all that kind of stuff, give yourself a certain time period. And then after that, let it go and get back out there.
I love it. Process your emotions, ladies. You can process your emotions. You just can't sit in your emotions. Tish, thank you. Thank you for being a guest on the show. You gave a lot of tremendous wisdom.
Thanks for having me. Loved it.
So ladies, just know that if you want to be a guest on the podcast, you can always go to the website, augustcrenshaw.com/podcast, scroll to the bottom and apply. Make sure you read every word in every email, because people that apply, I know you don't do it because I give you instructions in one of those emails. And when you don't follow it, you don't get called back. But we're looking for more beautiful stories from other entrepreneurial women. Come here. Let's inspire one another. Let's keep each other encouraged. Tish, like many other women on this show, has a very powerful story to tell about perseverance. All right. So we love you. We're going to holler at you later. Deuces. Thank you for joining me today. Remember to cultivate a mindset that is biased towards taking action. No bitching, whining, or complaining. Here, our mantra is, real women don't bitch, we get shit done. See you next week as I continue to bring you what you need to keep your head in the game and beast your business. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Would you like a specific topic covered? Have a question you would like answered live? Then head on over to realwomen.don't bitch podcast.com. Subscribe to my email list, hit me up, and I got you. Interested in being a guest speaker? You walk the walk? Then you can sign up on the website too. This is your #1 advanced mental conditioning specialist for entrepreneurs, Mrs. Raw, Real, and Relentless. Signing out. Deuces.
Inspire, empower, grab your girls and soar a little higher. Unlock the fire in you.